other employees, as our residents, who witness someone doing something extraordinary. The applications are reviewed by a committee every month, and a recommendation is forwarded to me. And I am pleased to recognize Ashley Polarchik as the GEM Award winner for this month. So Ashley, come on up. Congratulations, Ashley. Awesome. Let me just explain. Ashley's been a member of the Evesham Township staff since 2014, beginning her employment as a part-time custodian for the Gibson House. She's been nominated for the GEM Award by her then supervisor, Monica. Monica comments that Ashley takes great pride in her work and believes that her work product is a reflection of her. She consistently goes above and beyond her job description to offer assistance to others, to assure that the areas even beyond her scope of responsibility are taken care of. Ashley never says it's not my job description. She has volunteered to train any new part-time employees so they are aware of every aspect of the job, especially when it comes to providing services for those who rent the Gibson House. She treats it like it's the country club when she was there. She has an eye for detail and will take the initiative to rearrange tables and chairs so the presentation is more appealing to the eye when guests enter the room. When the township had a position available in the municipal building, the transition to bring her on as a regular full-time position was easy. So we welcome Ashley as a full-time employee in September 2016. Ashley is married to Justin and has 2 daughters, Veronica 9 and Alexis 4. So Ashley, thank you really for being a great example for others. You were our first part-time employee to be nominated. And it was the taking ownership of the job that really impressed the committee and really made it very easy to bring you on full-time. And we look forward to having you here for a long time as well.
Thank you.
So congratulations. Taking a picture with council. Just one last reminder that the GEM program is co-sponsored with the Marlton Business Association. And it is their goal to help support the professional development of the municipal government. So they contribute a gift card to Rastelli's. And from my office, we buy a little bracelet. And then we also, from council, we have a little proclamation. Yep.
Good? Okay.
Thank you. If you give the card.
Thank you
Oh,
so
we have
much.
a little pin also, I forgot. And this is a little council.
All right, Tom, you got anything else?
Yes, one more thing there.
We do that here.
With us?
Oh, yeah, you guys, you can take a seat. Ray, and Rhonda, can you guys come up? Oh, did Ray leave? Oh, okay. Okay. So I'll handle that. All right. Mayor, Council, I met with Councilman Deanna and members of the, DeAndrea, apologize, and members of the Green Team who reviewed a number of goals for the coming year. One of the goals, they've actually been working on this for quite a while, is the development of a farmer's market in town. And before we go any further, we wanted to get council's approval on the concept as we continue to develop it. So here is what we wanted to present to you. First.
Before you go into that, if I may add,
Yes, sir.
you know, we've been talking over the last month or so about the Green Team. Currently, the Green Team is kind of a subsection or group underneath the Environmental Commission. And both the Environmental Commission, great group of people, they have a vision and mission that is, you know, a lot of times connected with developments that go into town and so forth. The Green Team is actually an organization that could span the entire township and also be a cross-functional type organization. And they also, the thinking is, based on what green teams around the area or in the state are focused on, the idea that we were talking about and discussing was almost to somewhat separate the two from, separate the two organizations and allow the Green Team to function and thrive on its own. And when you talk about the Environmental Commission meetings and how they go, and you don't want one to usurp the other in terms of, everybody has a lot of activity going on in the Environmental Commission. And so we bantered around and discussed the idea of separating the two and make it, kind of formal on its own based on the activity and the wants and needs and the vision of what the Green Team could be. So having said that, and the mechanics and the logistics we can work, at a later date, and we've been looking at the how it was all situated and how the resolutions were established, was to look at the Green Team on its own, create its own vision, mission statement, and again, look at it on how the organization wants to move forward and deal with sustainable growth, sustainable New Jersey, the farmers market. There's a couple other things that are on the docket that we're trying to look at with that whole organization. So I just wanted to set the stage, and this, of course, is one big component of that, that the team we would like to present at a later date down the road. So just wanted to set that stage, and with the team in the back, we can talk more about it at another meeting.
Okay. My trusty deputy just reminded me that it's not 2016, it's 2017. That's just a typo.
Unless we did this already, things have to go all over again.
Okay, so why a farmer's market? It is a growing trend. Towns are slowly trying to figure this out. If you recall, we had one for a little while out on Route 70 by the shops at Elmwood. We learned a lot from that. The ideals are that it brings you access to fresh and locally produced vegetables and food. Money stays in the local economy. There's a growing interest in it. Growers market directly to our customers without excessive overhead or cost or shipping. And apparently it's very good for the environment as well, as it helps diversify crops, so we don't have these large farms with just these sort of monocultures. From a planning perspective, they reinforce a sense of community and a sense of place. It's a very, very important aspect of many downtowns. We recognize that from our first experience, that walkability has to be in the realm of possibilities there. We want to place it somewhere where we could include community groups, introduce some live music, maybe some demonstrations, and someplace where it could be a gathering place. So there's a lot of literature out there why this is beneficial to the community, and I'm not going to read all that. We'll have that available online. So the idea was to place this in the parking lot of the farmer's market on Cooper Avenue. We met with the fire chief, and he is fully supportive of it as long as we maintain that one far lane for vehicles to move in and out of. There's an aerial, and you can see it's really that portion of the parking lot that's closest to Main Street, and we would keep that back lane open for vehicles coming in and out. It would be run by members of the Green Team. They'd be volunteers. Our planner, Leah, has a great deal of experience with this, having done it in Medford Lakes. We anticipate approximately 10 vendors. We'll make sure all the hold harmless agreements and insurance policies would be in place. There'll be some minimal support required from the township, such as Public Works taking away some trash, perhaps removing barriers when necessary. Not a whole lot, basically just trash removal and some basic support, maybe with tables and things like that. So before we go further down this road, we would need council's blessing to continue, that you'd be willing to support them. It's not a nonprofit, you know, it's an actual governmental service initiative, like any other sort of special event that we do here. And we just wanted to present it to you, and we would get points for our sustainable jersey designation.
To try and go to silver. Just one thing to add on there. Yeah, right. I was looking at the when, and for everybody's thought, if we start, and the thinking is we start in June, and you know we're testing it all out. We would end the last week of September, which happens to coincide with the Harvest Fest. So the thinking is it kind of works itself in a nice, you know, package per se, and ending with the Harvest Fest, which happens to be on, you know, that Saturday, would be a great way to combine things.
Right. The parking lot is not in any great demand on that evening, so it's not going to hurt anyone to try. We won't be blocking traffic, won't be interfering with anything, but we'll be in a much better location than the last time this was tried. From here to there.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So that's it.
Nope.
Don't know.
Anyway, and just to kind of bridge and close it out, that's the thinking. There's going to be a few other things that the team would like to present. As you know, again, with the initiative to try and form its own identity, and this obviously being one of them for the team support.
Well, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. In the meantime, we'll prepare a resolution for the next consent agenda, just to have on record.
All right, cool, thanks, Tom. Okay, preliminary public comment, agenda items only. Agenda only.
I like to, I don't, there's some lacking of clarity out there, so I wanted to bring it up.
Well, Tom, are you recusing yourself from voting?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Just Ken DeAndrea, 1 Pierre Court, Marlton. There is a resolution on there for 2017. Just so everybody knows, it's a sponsorship at Virtua. We do lots of sponsorships, and the way to enable this was to codify a resolution. We're trying to do a sponsorship with the golf course, and we're going to be presenting a check to the golf course. And so I just wanted to make sure, if I'm missing anything, we wanted to understand what the process was, as Virtua does a lot of the sponsorships. And the idea is from physical therapy, occupational therapy, and so forth.
If you're speaking to the council.
Oh, yeah, well, Your Honor. So that's what we're trying to do. We're creating a sponsorship, and we wanted to give a check to the township, but the enabling legislation had to be codified through a resolution. Tom, can you provide any additional clarity?
Yes, this is, we've been struggling as a government entity to find ways to approach our golf business with the same flexibility, with the same sort of ingenuity that a private sector golf course would. And tonight you have a ordinance which establishes a fee that within that fee structure there is something called an affinity program, which allows us to partner with different entities, maybe healthcare, maybe education, retail, you name it, travel, much like other golf courses do. So this is really our first one. It's with Virtua. They have a very modest discount for their members, much like we did with the Municipal Partners Program. If you let other municipalities from the county get a slight discount off of rates if they're county residents. And in exchange, Virtua will be able to put advertising at the golf course, tastefully done. They will be paying us, I think it's approximately $15,000 over maybe 16 months, I forget, something like that. We will be doing, their doctors will be doing some clinics for our golfers in terms of motion and athletic development and that sort of stuff. And we'll be doing some advertising together, some cross pollination in terms of our course being advertised to the Virtua community and the Virtua community being represented in our advertisement. And we really hope to expand this to really a whole bunch of other sectors.
And given that Virtua is in the backyard of Houston Township, it was paramount to see if we could do something. Thank you.
Okay, so we're just gonna deal with this. All right, anybody else in the public wish to comment on agenda only?
Hello, Rosemary Bernardi, 10 Halifax Court East. Commenting on agenda item 50-2017 is the award of the contract for the township solicitor. The reason I'm up here is that with the recent 1/12/2017 Pressgate and all that happened in the past year regarding suing the school district, you spend, you meaning council, spend $420,000 for legal fees. $25,000 was spent to sue the school district. I just don't understand why we would continue, and again, it's my opinion that I felt that was a bad decision and reflective on council's guidance on that. Your solicitor gave you that advice to go ahead and sue the school district. You also spent $10,000 to sue the school district from the planning board perspective. So I think that we pay a little bit too much for fees. So my question here is whether or not, did you have to go out to bid? The other concern I have is regarding this whole, Parker McKay gave $4,000 to the township council candidates during the election season. So I would respectfully ask that you not appoint, and again, it's nothing personal, Mr. Gillespie, but I found the recent action of the Pressgate on 1/12 and then the action of suing the school district was not the best course of action for our township.
Any other comments? All right, anybody else in the public wishing to comment? Agenda items only?
Kenneth Mills. I'd also like to talk about Mr. Gillespie's appointment, but before I begin, I'd like to say that I've always had a lot of respect for Mr. Gillespie. But I was listening to a conversation the other day with a bunch of people. They were discussing his reappointment, and I think the consensus was that he was not a real good gatekeeper, and that maybe he'd become a little complacent. So I went home and I kind of checked back, and I remember when Mr. Brown was, I think he was a Democrat at that time, but they sued Sid Goldblatt had sued the council because they were going to spend this money put it in a turf field at Cherokee, and I believe Mr. Gillespie was the solicitor then. And then I also looked at, I think, the COA suit. I think he's a solicitor on that. And recently, of course, is the Board of Education. I do remember that I haven't heard Mr. Gillespie say, well, maybe we should have an executive session, let's discuss this. I don't know, I know this is not going to change anybody's mind probably, but I hope it gives people some thought in the future. And also I would like to ask Mr. Gillespie to be more of a gatekeeper. I think, I look at Mr. Sinicki and Mr. Gillespie both as kind of gatekeepers. And of course I'd like to see the council be the gatekeeper for the mayor, but I don't think they're doing too good of a job. Although a couple of people have stood up to him in a couple of ways. So.
You have 1 minute, Ken.
Okay. One other thing, Mayor. I'd like to respectfully ask that when people are talking up here that we not have to look at these dolls here on the side. It kind of makes me a little nervous. I don't know whether they're voodoo dolls or not, but I would ask that if you're going to display them, that you move them away from this table in the future. Thank you.
Anybody else with agenda items only? Didn't know how voodoo dolls was part of agenda items. I'm glad you'd be able to slip that one in, Ken, as you normally do. That would be for regular public comment at the end of the meeting, Ken. That's how that goes.
Hi, Janice Knoll, 304 Elm Terrace. I was just curious, I see on the Virtua affinity program, this resolution. I read here, I just would like you to explain, because I don't understand, that the agreement says that Virtual will have the exclusive sponsorship, signage, promotional, and advertising rights at Indian Spring Golf Course. So, is that,
In the hospital category.
okay, so you have a hospital category designated for them,
Yeah. In
Okay.
that industry, yeah.
okay. And then just another question, I saw there was like a temporary appropriation budget needed for the DPW. I'm concerned about the roads. I don't know if I can talk about this at this time. How much money?
What agenda item is that?
I don't know exactly, but it was on the agenda. But it's to appropriate emergency funds for 2017, because there's not a budget.
35.
So that's not a road issue. May I, Mayor?
Yeah.
So, the state has not come out with its state aid figures for towns, so we can't move forward on our budgets. And as you know, we're into 2017. So in all what you'll see from meeting to meeting is we have to do temporary emergency appropriations because some of our expenses in different departments are like more front-loaded, some are back-loaded.
Right,
So
okay.
we can't keep pace with the month-to-month budget, so the state allows us to do this. The road conversation is one to have when we introduce the capital budget and we identify what roads we would like to
Okay.
pave.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're talking about paving.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
So that'll be perhaps in March, April sometime.
Oh, that's when you appropriate funds for road repairs?
Well, that's
Is
when
that right?
we give council a recommendation of priorities for the coming year. They take it into consideration and we make a decision which roads are gonna be priorities for the year.
Okay, and that decision for roads is made this year?
Okay, Ms. Knoll, you have 1 minute.
Yes. It'll be made this year for
Right,
this
any
year's
work will be
budget.
done this year?
It depends on the complexity of the road.
Okay, I understand that. Okay,
Ms. Knoll, if you'd like to give Mr. Chernetsky your cell phone number and/or your email, I know he'd be more than happy to talk to you about any particular questions you have. Okay?
okay, I have your email. So very quickly, there's another one about the Township Rec Engineer CME Associates for any recreational fields and so on. How do we get information on whether this was put out to bid? Did this go through a competitive bidding process for this rec engineer?
Yes. All these professionals were advertised.
Yep.
And firms were invited to submit proposals.
Okay, are those proposals then available for
Yes,
residents
they are
to review?
available. Yes.
In what department?
The clerk's office.
Okay,
Okay, anything else?
thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else with agenda only? Okay, seeing there's none, I'm closing this portion of the meeting. Go to ordinance first reading.
Mayor?
Yes.
I apologize, I have one thing. Our solicitor sat here quietly and in response to some of the things that were said. And I would just like to say, Mayor, there was some point, first of all, Mr. Gillespie was not our attorney during the turf lawsuit with Cherokee High School. That was a different attorney that was with us. Just a factual statement. The other thing I want to say is, Mayor,
Around here, they don't always put facts in statements.
well,
It's part of it.
and also I have to say this, at one point, I think.
Well, I have facts in the story.
When you were making a change from parties, and we were looking at changing lawyers, you asked me who I'd recommend, and I recommended Mr. Gillespie. I'm sure I wasn't the final point of reference for you in making the selection, but I would recommend him today again, and I wouldn't hesitate a second.
We're proud to have him. We're excited to have him. Best municipal attorney in the state of New Jersey. That's why he writes books and all the other stuff he writes. Okay. Ordinance, first reading. Ms. Mary Lou.
Ordinance number 1-3-2017. Public hearing will be March 7th, 2017. An ordinance amending Chapter 11 of the Code of the Township of Evesham, golf course fees.
Okay, I need a motion to introduce ordinance 1-3-2017, please.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Comments?
Yes, sir.
Seeing there's none, Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea.
Aye.
Mr. Deanna.
Aye.
Ms. Hackman.
Aye.
Mr. Zully.
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
I need a motion to adopt Resolution 31-2017, appointment to Evesham MUA, alternate number 1, unexpired 5-year term to expire January 31, 2018. Inserting the name Byron Druss, please.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Comments? After speaking with Byron, he's got an outstanding background in this, and
Absolutely.
he's very well spoken on, and I think will be a fine addition.
He's actually at a water quality meeting, I think down in Tampa right now, so
He's
he's
got
got a
a-
lot of background.
Good. Okay, Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea.
Aye.
Mr. Deanna.
Aye.
Ms. Hackman.
Aye.
Mr. Zully.
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. I need a motion to adopt Resolution 32-2017, appointment to Zoning Board, alternate number 2, unexpired 2-year term to expire June 30th, 2018, inserting the name of Dan Myers.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Comments? Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea.
Aye.
Mr. Deanna.
Aye.
Ms. Hackman.
Aye.
Mr. Zully.
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, resolution, I need a motion to adopt Resolution 33-2017, appointment to Zoning Board, alternate number 3, unexpired 2-year term to expire June 30th, 2017, inserting the name Roberta Hoyle.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Comments? Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea.
Aye.
Mr. Deanna.
Aye.
Ms. Hackman.
Aye.
Mr. Zully.
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
I need a motion to adopt Resolution 34-2017, appointment Zoning Board, alternate number 4, unexpired 2-year term to expire June 30th, 2018, inserting the name Robert Osno, please.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Comments? Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea.
Aye.
Mr. Deanna.
Aye.
Ms. Hackman.
Aye.
Mr. Zully.
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, I need a motion to adopt Resolution 35-2017, please.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Comments? Seeing there's none, Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea.
Aye.
Mr. Deanna.
Aye.
Ms. Hackman.
Aye.
Mr. Zully.
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Everybody take your time, go through the consent agenda. See if there's anything we want to pull out of the consent agenda.
Mayor, while council's looking at that, before you adopt, would council consider adding to the agenda Resolution 64-2017, authorizing the purchase of real property known as 401 Whale Road, White Bridge Condominium Association, with funds appropriated from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. This relates to a property that there has been a foreclosure. We want to protect the affordable housing deed restriction on the property, and we've worked things out with the White Bridge Condominium Association. And if we can acquire the property for less than 60. If we can't, we won't.
Okay, so John, you want me to do a motion to add it to the agenda?
Please.
And because we haven't had a chance to fully brief council on it, just a reminder for council and the public that the funds being used to pay for this are not taxpayer funds. They're funds given to us by developers specifically to meet our affordable housing obligation.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I need a motion to add Resolution 64-2017 to the agenda, please.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I do have to pull out 37.
Hold on, I'm not yet.
Do that. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of the consent agenda, including the list of motions at the end.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
All right, any separations? Any separations?
Whistle or something? Yes, sir, Your Honor, 37-27.
Thank you. All right. Any other separations? All right, 37-27 will be separated. If there are no other separations, we'll vote on the remainder of the consent agenda. Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea.
Aye.
Mr. Deanna.
Aye.
Ms. Hackman.
Aye.
Mr. Zully.
Aye.
Mayor Brown.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Need a motion to adopt Resolution 37-2017,
I'll look up at the ceiling if you like.
I need a second.
Second.
Comments? Mary Lou, please poll the council.
Mr. DeAndrea?
Abstain.
Mr. Deanna?
Aye.
Ms. Hackman?
Aye.
Mr. Zoli?
Aye.
Mayor Brown?
Aye.
Motion carries 401.
Okay, anybody in the public wishing to comment on, do we have a, I see down the bottom, newsletter, do we need to say anything on that? No.
That was on the listed motion.
Got it. Okay. Anybody in the public wishing to comment on anything? This would have been your time, Ken, to talk about the things I thought.
Hello. Fred DeAntonis, 15 Crane Drive. I want to talk about this lawsuit from Mr. Dentin. And I don't want to speak about the merits of the lawsuit, and I know you can't comment because it's ongoing litigation. What I would like to know is, since the township is being sued, and you, Mayor, are being sued individually, who pays for the legal expenses incurred in defending Mayor Brown, and who would pay for any monetary awards that will be a result of this lawsuit? Can somebody answer that?
We will after public comment. I'll address that. I'll address it after public comment.
Okay, when is that?
Tonight, when you are done.
Oh, when we are done, okay, fine. Thank you.
All right, anybody else in the public wishing to comment on anything, please step forward.
Hi, Rosemary Bernardi, 10 Halifax Court East again. I actually have a similar comment, and I would like to know the answer too. But again, I'm here again because last week I asked for your resignation, Mayor Brown, regarding your actions at the 1/12/2017 press conference, Pressgate. And you
You
chuckle.
come up with a name yourself.
You were instrumental in organizing a whole, you had a prepared press release, you conferred with the council regarding it, so I respectfully ask for your resignation again. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else in the public have something to add?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Myers, 12 Arrowhead Drive. I had a couple things that I wanted to chat about tonight. First thing was I wanted to thank you guys for your support in my appointment as a zoning board, an alternate zoning board member. I will do my best to make you guys proud. I spoke last week when you had a shortened meeting about soliciting. The Arrowhead Neighborhood Association at our fall meeting decided it might be a good idea to look into sponsorship or sponsoring within communities. So what we thought about doing is going out and purchasing a bunch of no sponsoring signs and handing those out to the residents of the Arrowhead community. I did try this experiment over the last 3 or 4 months, and where I was getting 1 or 2 or 3 different people coming to my door a week, I got 0 in the last 4 months. So it's been very, very effective. I'm concerned, I have in the past called the police on people that have come that were rude to me, that have been rude to neighbors, and the police did come out. They did a fantastic job of finding these people and finding them and fining them because they didn't have the appropriate paperwork that they were supposed to have. That's the one thing that I want to say. I know we have ordinances on the books. However, I don't think they're working. People don't come out to the township